hit the like button on the way, guys. I appreciate it. Be with you in just a minute.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
All right, let's get right to it. What do you say, guys? How are you? Appreciate you joining me. Welcome back. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. It's Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. Lots to talk about. Today is the day of the special election for the slain Minnesota lawmaker, Melissa Hortman. So we'll be talking about that. Another UN commission says that Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza. Bongino and Patel go on a media tour to cover up their failures with no answers and info that absolutely doesn't make any sense to anybody so far. We got clips from Greg Kelly. We were talking about, like I said, Israel, Trump capitulating to Russia, putting more pressure on Zelensky, as we've actively said he tries to do as it pertains to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, instead of putting pressure on the person that perpetrated that war and invasion, the guy that leads Russia, Vladimir Putin, that guy. But we got a lot to talk about. Let me bring in the chat. How are you guys doing? Say hi to the mods and thank the mods for me so much. I appreciate you guys for keeping that chat a safe place. Moms, how are you? What up, Dame Dog? What's up, Alan Petrazi? Evie's on. How are you guys? Everybody over there on Twitch? What's up, Michael? What's up, Nicholas? Hi, Debbie. How are you? What's up, Patui? Appreciate you guys. Make sure you're hitting that like on the way in. It really helps. We are on our way to not only 1,000 YouTube members, which is, I think, a huge accomplishment for a channel that has just over 13,000 subscribers. So that's what, like 8 or 9%. I don't know what the exact percentage is. I'm not a mathematician, but it's a pretty good percentage considering you see a lot of YouTube channels that say, 95 or 96% of you guys that watch aren't subscribed. So thank you guys to everybody that has signed up just underneath me for a Boston Brian YouTube membership for just under $3 a month. Goes a long way. For $5 a month, you can sign up at the Patreon at patreon.com/Boston Brian. There's a Venmo up in the corner. Boston Buck, try your luck, support some independent media. Goes a long way. But most of all, just a like and a subscribe to the channel helps a lot. And they're free. Free things to do. Subscribe, like, free. Totally free. Doesn't cost you a dime. You can comment in the chat, throw some emojis in the chat, have a good conversation in the chat. But just make sure, if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, if you find yourself coming back, if I give you some value, some entertainment, some information, some laughter, whatever the hell it may be, and you are in the financial ability to, you do have the financial ability to contribute, think about doing so. That's all. That's my spiel for the day. And thank you guys once again, everybody filtering in. I appreciate you. Make sure you hit the like button. We'll be talking about also, obviously, Kash Patel's disastrous performance today in front of the Senate, where he got bashed on pretty good. We'll also be talking about the fact that, the poverty rate is growing. More Americans are unemployed. Groceries and goods continue to explode in price. Health insurance costs are rising. Cost of housing is rising. All while Donald Trump is building a $200 million ballroom and spending $1 million a day to have our National Guard act as street sweepers in different cities to give them absolutely no powers whatsoever, but to see them sitting on street corners, just again, wasting $1 million a day. What do you say, guys? You guys want to get into it? I appreciate it. And I do have a new, new software that tells me everybody that's watching that hasn't liked in real time. Of course, I'm joking, but it would really help if I could see that. And it would really put some pressure on you guys. But I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. No, I appreciate it. Hit that like button. But what do you say we get into it? Like I said, we got a lot to cover. We got a few articles to get into, a few short clips to get into, and obviously some longer clips to get into. I don't know if we'll cover it all, but I hope to at least try to hit the majority of it. Obviously, main topics being domestic policy inside the United States, of course, with the special election in Minnesota, what Democrats can do to help out there. the domestic policy, again, as far as the National Guard and ICE, infiltrating our cities and trying to, again, stoke fear and violence upon the American citizens. We'll be talking about Gaza because Israel's ground invasion has begun. And again, the UN Commission is coming out to once again call this a genocide. That's above and beyond the UN Special Rapporteur report that we put out, that we talked about on this show, from Francesca Albanese. I believe that was either late 2023 or in 2024. I'm getting it kind of, it's all a little bit gray, a little bit blurry now, but that was some time ago. This is just, again, reiterating what everybody, or what most people are willing to call out and are willing to say about this. Again, Trump and Russia. Let me put this up on the screen for you guys, see if I can give you guys a better idea of what I'm talking about here. So we got this that we'll be discussing as well here, which is the Trump says Russian oil purchases by EU and NATO countries must stop immediately. But this is what I wanted to highlight. U.S. President adds that Zelensky will have to make a deal and that Ukraine is in serious trouble as he departs for UK state visit. We have the clip where Donald Trump says that to the media. That's right here. So we'll be taking a look at that, just a short clip. And then again, like I said, the UN Commission once again says Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza. There's the Washington Post story that I wanted to take a look at. There is an Al Jazeera clip that I wanted to take a look at. So, all right, before I waste too much time telling you what we're going to get into, let's just dive right into it again. What do you say? Because this is kind of what's popping right now because of the, the fiery display. But we can get into a couple clips of Kash Patel at the Senate. What do you say? Oh, thank you so much. Slacks. What's up, Slacks? You fucking hero, you. Right back at you, brother. Heroyam Slava. I appreciate you always being here. Thank you so much for your kind and generous contribution, as always. And I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. Thank you so much. And that goes for, who else did I see? Maria. Thank you so much as well, Maria. I appreciate that. I've cut back to essentials. Appreciate you again. I like to and always do reiterate, if you're in the financial position to do so. If not, don't even think about it. That's why the liking and the subscribing are always going to be the main objects for me to push out, because those are always going to be free things that you can do that doesn't cost you a dime, doesn't come out of pocket anything, and it really helps the channel a lot. So I appreciate you, Maria, and don't worry about it for a sec. A lot of people are in the same boat, but thank you so much. What's up, Jen? What's happening, brother? What up, VD? What's up, Karen? Christina, how are you? Hi, Kathleen. Thank you so much. 14 months. Right back at you. I shall share that and pass that love around. Thank you so much. All right, let's say we get into a couple of these crazy clips here. I haven't seen any of these yet, but I heard that it covered a wide range of things from, Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein investigation to the ongoing Charlie Kirk investigation. So this is apparently Senator Kennedy questioning Kash Patel on the Epstein investigation, apparently saying, quote, who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to? And apparently Kash Patel comes back with this quote saying there is no credible information, none, that he trafficked to other individuals, not a single other person. Kash Patel now saying that there's not a single report, not a single investigative report that says that there's credible evidence to suggest that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked a single female. So let's see how he lies through his teeth and gets out of this one. Let me see if I can play it from the beginning and see what he says. So you might have to turn it up a little because Twitter usually sucks volume-wise. I got it all up as much as I can go here. So let me know if you can hear it. If you can't, maybe we can find a different source. But what do you say? Hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I appreciate you joining me. Let's get into this bullshittery here. Let's go.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure, what that distinction is, what other information is out there. I was led to believe that, the entirety of these files were being, reviewed and set to be released by the DOJ and Pam Bondi. They were on her desk. The files were right there, baby. They were ready to go. So I'm not really I'm curious what that distinction at the end means, that are in our possession at least. So I don't know if that's supposed to be some distinction without a cause that gets him out of this somehow. But to suggest somehow that the American people and the world at large are fucking dumb enough to believe that there is not a single credible source of evidence to suggest that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell already being convicted for trafficking? Like, what the fuck? What? Like, how can you possibly expect the entire world to somehow wrap their heads around this entire 180 that has been done here? Again, by Kash Patel, somebody that went into this with fucking fire and fury in his eyes, ready to release all this shit, or, apparently and supposedly ready to release all this shit. And all of a sudden, fucking brick wall. MAGA hits a brick fucking wall. As a fucking a byproduct of that, so have we all. But it's fucking remarkable to me that he can sit here, and again, I don't know, because as far as I know, when you do this type of shit, you're you're pretty much held to your word. You're on record. You're under oath, right? Is he sworn in? Correct me if I'm wrong, but does he get sworn in before this testimony? So I don't know, again, if that is like that whole in our possession or in my possession, whatever he says, they're supposed to get him out of this somehow. But that is some fucking utter horse shit that, again, not even the MAGA chuds that follow these people seemingly are getting behind as far as, a talking point or rhetoric or anything like that. Let's see if there was a few more from this as well. So I think that's the one that everybody kind of picked up on. And then there was, let's see here, I think Booker kind of gave it to him a little bit. I'm not sure if this is pertaining to the Epstein files. Again, I haven't seen any of this because I was putting the show together. But let's just see what Cory Booker had to say.
But here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're loyal.
Oh, and I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show too, R.I.P. Robert Redford. Good fucking, what an actor. So I just wanted to throw that out there at the beginning of the show. Totally forgot. And of course, we'll be breaking down the ongoing debauchery and the fucking incompetency of the FBI, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, as it relates to the Charlie Kirk investigation and a gun that was fucking assembled, broken down, and reassembled more times than Laurent Boebert has been. So again, we'll get into that later, but I just wanted to say R.I.P. Robert Redford, died at the age of 89, I believe. And again, just a whole host of movies, a list too long to get into right now, but just wanted to share my respects and pay my respects to the man. So we'll get back into this.
For your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to say anything?
Yes, sir. That.
And again, this is being widely reported that people are kind of gunning for Kash Patel. Pam Bondi apparently not too happy with him. Other people in the background apparently not too convinced he has the, all of a sudden they're not convinced that he has the, qualifications, the skills to lead the FBI. I mean, we've seen many times, in cases of, information coming out from Kash Patel himself that ends up being not the case. Again, the information that we are receiving does not make any sense. A lot of it, at least, does not make any sense. The timeline's not matching up. What happened with the gun, the outfits, a lot of it's not making any sense, not lining up. And that's just what we do know, which is apparently still very little considering the shooter is still not cooperating. But again, let's see what he has to say in response here.
A false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is
I
my
follow
time.
you on your social media posts that
It is
tear
my
this country
time
apart.
to address
There should be a
your
unifying-
falsehoods.
Oh,
You are an
you can try
embarrassment
all
to the
you
division
want
in this
to
country.
not take
It's my
responsibility
time.
for what
You
you
had
have
your
said.
time.
Sir, you're
Your
making
time
a
is
mockery of
over.
I think he knows. I think he knows he's kind of on his last legs, and he's trying his best here to create a moment that he can use as justification to his base and the people surrounding him that he belongs in this fight. That he is able to bark back when somebody's it's apparently barking up the wrong tree, as Kash Patel would love to have you believe here. But let's see. I think there was a few other moments for me. I don't want to spend a whole hell of a lot of time. Here was the couple moments from this morning from Trump. Again, not a ton of shit to get into. I did want to go over that, statement about Ukraine, but we'll get into that as we're discussing Ukraine. But let me just see. I think there was another couple clips here. Yeah, with Adam Schiff that he had. So let me see. There was a clip here from Adam Schiff. Let me see if we can just play this. And there might be one more, and then we'll kind of move on into our stories to see if we can fit it all in here. Let's see what Adam Schiff had to say to Kash.
Said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements
Oh,
of
you're not in
inmates.
the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest.
So far seems really productive. Regardless of what side of the aisle you fall in, it seems extremely productive so far. I could say that. Doesn't it all resemble, I don't know, like the UK Parliament or, just people fucking waving paper and shouting shit back and forth so you can't hear a fucking word anybody's saying. Total wicked productive this is.
Fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your show.
Man, fucking, I don't know who's cheering. I forget who's cheering that whole fucking thing, but he's got to get a hold of that gavel. Got to get a hold of that gavel. Yeah, Trump makes some threats. Yeah, there's also a couple parts here where Trump makes a threat. Yeah, we'll take a look at this one because this kind of goes along with, again, the ramp up in rhetoric against the left-wing organizations that, again, absolutely nothing to do with anything that's been discussed anywhere recently in the news, without getting too specific. But this is just a part of the accruing of more authoritarian dictatorial powers, going after the media, going after free speech, because it's getting fucking serious. I got to tell you that much. And this is just another example where, I'm not 100% sure who the reporter is. Looks like the ABC reporter. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But it says, what do you make? This is the question that he asked. What do you make of Pam Bondi saying she is going after hate speech? A lot of allies say hate speech is free speech, right? Seemingly a pertinent question, a good question, considering the right is the one that loves to say that, free speech considers, encompasses everything and all of the hate speech that they have espoused over the years. And it should be okay under certain regulations that they see themselves under. But again, when the other side engages in free speech with something that they don't agree with, goes against their stances and policies and opinions, then all of a sudden they need to be cracked down upon. They need to lose their job. They need to be fucking removed from the system. I don't care if we have to hurt an entire town because of this, but we'll do that. We'll put you on a list 30,000 deep. Make sure that you doxed, your information's out there because we didn't like what you said in relation to, Charlie Kirk being murdered. And that's coming from the party of free speech, the party of freedom, the party of don't tread on me, the party of small government. And it's ramping up. Listen to his response here because I found this to be quite alarming and quite direct.
That'll come to a vote, but we'll see what happens. And what do you make Pam Bondi saying she's going to go after hate speech? Is that, a lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech. We'll probably go after people like you.
And in case I know it's low and he's probably next to the fucking helicopter, so it's not making it any better. Plus he's outside. And he says she'll probably go after people like you. Here, let me see if I can get the exact quote here.
Like you.
Ready? Hold on.
She'll probably go after people like you.
She'll probably go after people like you. Again, talking directly to the ABC reporter here.
Because you treat me so unfairly, it's hate.
Because you treat me so unfairly, it's hate.
You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. Well, ABC paid me $16 million recently for a form of hate speech, right? Your company paid me $16 million.
All right, so enough of that rambling bullshit. But again, more threats to the free press, more bluster and bullshit, trying to get the free press not to write demeaning or opinionated articles against Donald Trump, because there will be reprisals, there will be repercussions, there will be consequences. That's the message that he's trying to get. That's the message that he's trying to get through here. But all right, I think that's enough of these idiots, because again, besides Kash Patel again lying directly to the faces of not only the senators but also the American people, maybe a couple good hits, knocks being thrown in there by a few people. I don't see that as being overly productive. I didn't think it would be with Kash Patel in the seat. So what do you say we hop on to, again, I forgot to announce this as well on the in the opening credits, but Trump has announced the second U.S. strike against alleged drug boat from Venezuela. I think this time killing 3, if I'm not mistaken. President Trump announced Monday that the U.S. military had carried out a second strike on alleged Venezuelan narco terrorists in international waters. The strike killed 3 male terrorists whom he accused of transporting illicit drugs. The post included a video that appeared to show a strike on a boat. He did not specify where the strike took place, except that it was in U.S. Southern Command's area of responsibility, which covers the Caribbean Sea and South America. Be warned, if you are transporting drugs that can kill Americans, we are hunting you, Mr. Trump wrote. So, what does this show you? It shows us that the quote, unquote, narco terrorists are completely unfazed and undeterred by Donald Trump's first strike that killed 11 human beings. Again, only alleged to have been transporting illicit drugs, illicit material. Again, completely impossible to be proven at this point unless you go try to fucking scuba the fucking bundles up. But again, this just shows me that what I said before, these people are absolutely, if this is what's going on, completely undeterred by these fucking strikes. You can take out fishing boat after fishing boat, and these fishing boats are probably out there for you to fucking take out. Knowing these people, right? There's probably fucking 10 or 12 submarines floating right under them sons of bitches, or ahead of them, or behind them, or wherever. And Donald Trump's clapping because he took out another 30-foot fishing boat with a couple engines and 3 fucking guys on it. And they're laughing all the way to the bank. You know, I'm not saying that, but it's very possible. It's very possible. We know how creative, these types of organizations can be to try to, get their shit around the system, to try to get around the Coast Guard, Border Patrol, Customs Enforcement, you know what I mean? That type of shit. It's not a new fucking thing that, maybe they'd be thinking outside of the box of fucking fishing boats on the surface with fucking 2 engines that can obviously be run down by any number of American fucking speedboats, law enforcement agent speedboats. So maybe we're thinking here, maybe it would just be, we take a step back and say, is this too easy? Are they giving us these targets in order to make it look like we're winning this battle? Well, again, they're fucking slipping around somehow, doing it another way. Oh, thank you, Tom. Oh, thank you, Tomas. Let's go. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. 19 months. That's fucking huge. That's huge. I think that might be the longest you could possibly have, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you, dude. I appreciate that. Appreciate you being here. But again, I just wanted to make sure that we were aware that this is, again, an ongoing operation of the United States striking, again, what looked to be 30, 40-foot fishing vessels, allegedly packed with illicit drugs. Again, I would love to get those illicit drugs before they enter the United States as well, but we've talked about it on the show, and there's no need to go too deep into it again. The multitude of different tactics and ways that would have been more proficient in giving you more information, in return, than just, again, blowing these people out of the fucking water without ever, making contact, investigating what they are actually transporting, what information these people actually know. Again, who knows if these people, their families are being fucking held hostage somewhere and they're being forced out on these boats, again, as fucking guinea pigs, as cannon fodder, knowing that the U.S. warships are in the area. Who knows? I'm just saying. But the one thing it can tell us is that they don't plan on, and they were completely undeterred by the first strike. And this is obviously either something out of necessity or something that is being put in front of our faces for us to munch on while, again, the main feast is happening behind our backs. But I wanted to make sure that we're up to date and on top of that as well, which brings us into this story here. Today is the day of the special election to fill the seat of former Minnesota State Rep Melissa Hortman, who was shot by a right-wing extremist, her and her husband. And that was sadly 3 months ago, just the other day. I believe it was the 14th. What's today? The 16th. So just 2 days ago was the actual 3-month anniversary of Melissa Hortman and her husband being murdered by a Trump supporter who had an active list. Talk about lists that are now going around on Twitter, doxing people for, their posts or their fucking videos that they're making that, again, the right doesn't agree with the sentiment of because, the Charlie, whatever. But this was an actual fucking list that this kid had that he actually, fucking enacted the plan to fucking to take out, right? And again, where was the outrage by the right? Where was the outrage by Fox News? Where was them? Where were they continuously calling for, the rhetoric to be fucking settled while simultaneously calling for a civil war? I don't know how you could fucking possibly pull that off, but somehow the right wing in this country manages to pull off at the same time calling for the rhetoric to be toned down, also calling for a fucking civil war and making lists to dox anybody they didn't agree with their opinion. Like, it's fucking wild to me, but somehow they get away with it because they have ownership over the media, or the media has ownership over them. Like, when you have the dual control and when you have the affiliation between the government, the media, and the fucking base that is so tightly knit and so tightly controlled like that, like, they can get away with this shit, and they can make these fucking talking points and the rhetoric flow from the base to the government or vice versa in fucking no time flat. Which is, again, why we explained on the other show, how Ben Mycelis from Midas Touch explained how it went from a single fucking unnamed source in a post to all of a sudden a couple minutes later being picked up by the majority of right-wing accounts on Twitter as 100% fact, when, again, it was an unnamed source, people running retractions left and right, and that's just continued. Right, that's picked up by Fox. It's picked up by the Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal, and fucking people are talking to Steven Crowder getting information. It's like, who the fuck, who's getting the information from who, and what gives anybody the right to go out there and report this as 100% fact, or to report bullshit coming from Steven fucking Crowder, even if it is the source? Like, I think, wouldn't you rather wait and determine whether or not that information is true or not, such as the fucking information on the bullets and what was written and what was the meaning behind it, originally reported as trans fucking descriptions or some bullshit, when it was anything but, words from video games, lines from video games, things that, like, people that are inherently and constantly online know right off the fucking bat, but you'd probably have to do some digging if you weren't. The Bella Ciao shit I was familiar with because of my studies from World War II, and that being a widely known anti-fascist tune, or whatever you want to call it. Obviously rebranded and repurposed by different communities online to mean different things. Using an example of the cheat code or whatever the fucking the video game code was, downright, down, whatever the fuck. I'm not a gamer, pardon me. But, that also had different meaning depending on the chat and how you were using it, just beyond the actual code and what it gave you yourself. So again, a lot of shit that you would only know if you were, constantly and inherently online in certain spaces. And we're still learning more by the day. So I just wanted to make sure that, everybody in Minnesota, people that may be watching in Minnesota, know that today is the day for the special election. There has been a lot of ground being made by Democrats lately, which is a good sign. A lot of momentum, even with all the bullshit being talked about on the mainstream side of things. Behind the scenes, Democrats have won, I believe it was at least one or two other elections. I don't know if they were special elections or what the actual type of elections were, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, that, we have been seeing some momentum behind our Democratic candidates in different parts of the country that we really need to feed on and highlight and make sure that, we applaud the fact that the voters are supporting these people who are absolutely going to be better for them. And better for society and better for in every regard than anybody on the other side. So, again, that was Ron Filipkowski's reporting, and this is just a CNN article. I believe it has a short Not sure if this one has the short video in it, but I just wanted to get through just a little bit of this. Special election for slain Minnesota lawmakers. Melissa Hortman's seat comes amid new fears of political violence. Let's see here. Special election in Minnesota on Tuesday will determine who will fill the seat of the late Democratic state rep Melissa Hortman, just over 3 months after she and her husband were fatally shot in what Governor Tim Walz called at the time a politically motivated assassination, which it was, and less than a week after the assassination, the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Kirk's death is the latest instance, and that's not what I'm trying to get into here. I want to be reading about the election itself and what people can be doing. Let's see. Minneapolis between Democratic XP Lee and, excuse me if I'm saying that wrong, but XP Lee and Republican Ruth Bittner. Lee, a health equity analyst and former Brooklyn Park City Council member, will face off against Bittner, a real estate agent who has never run for public office. Top Minnesota Democrats such as Walz and Senator Amy Klobuchar have campaigned for Lee in recent days. Speaking to the Associated Press while campaigning over the weekend, Bittner said that Kirk killing made her briefly hesitate about running for public office, but said we can't cower to fear, acknowledging that we are in very, very scary times. Lee, also speaking to the AP while out knocking on doors, said the political climate in the United States after Kirk's assassination is a charged atmosphere, and emphasized he wants to bring down the temperature, and if elected, to his former neighborhood, Hortman's vacant seat. Lee told the AP he used to see Hortman walking her golden retriever around the neighborhood. This is him, what looks to be out and about, campaigning, knocking on doors. Republican candidate. This is her, this is the challenger. Hortman, her husband, were killed June 14th by a masked man impersonating a police officer who also shot and wounded State Senator John Hoffman and his wife in the same night. Vance Bolter, the Minnesota man accused of the attack, faces 2 state charges of first-degree murder, 4 counts of attempted first-degree murder, and charges of impersonating a police officer and animal cruelty for shooting Hortman's dog. Bolter was indicted in July on 6 federal counts of murder, stalking, and firearms violation, and pleaded not guilty in federal court last month. Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party Chairman Richard Carlblum said in a statement to CNN Monday, political violence has no place in American politics, which seems to be the recurring theme again from any of the real and fucking actual people that you look at or talk to online, as opposed to just fucking randos that you don't know if they're real, you don't know if they're bots, you don't know who the fuck they are. But the through line that I've heard from people that I've watched, creators that I've talked to, is very much calling it out for what it was. Fucking absolutely not condoning anything like that. Absolutely calling it out. But while also reiterating the reality of the matter and the facts of what has been said, either rhetorically or at these debates in the past, that has led us to this environment that we now find ourselves in. Right. So the election in Minnesota State House District 34B will determine the balance of the chamber, which stands at a very slim 67-66 Republican majority. With the Democratic win in this solidly blue district in the Brooklyn Park suburb, the balance of power would again be tied at 67-67, where it stood before Hortman was killed. The Minnesota House previously struck a power sharing agreement that last time the balance was tied, which Hortman said at the time was a, quote, golden opportunity to showcase bipartisanship. Lee beat out 2 candidates in the Democratic primary last month to advance the September special general election. Bittner ran unopposed. So again, very, very important to again regain the balance of power anywhere we possibly can, in any seat, in any county, in any state, leading up to midterms, regardless of what it's leading up to. It's very important that from fucking your student council to your fucking to your school council, to your town council, to the state, whatever it is that you want to run for, whatever fucking is out there that we are now lagging behind in power to the other side, we need to make sure that we get great candidates or people that are willing to step up in this moment to run for those positions. And again, we need to make sure that we are at least fighting evenly without one hand tied behind our back in a lot of these situations. So I wanted to make it clear that The Minnesota special election will be held today. The importance of that, and just how much momentum you may not even heard about. So after the show, maybe hit the old Google searches and just see what the Democrats, type up recent Democrat victories and see what pops up, and hopefully you'll be a little bit surprised at the momentum that we are seeing again. Totally juxtaposed to what is being reported in the mainstream media, and how that's looking. So, wanted to make sure that you guys knew that, which will make us hop on to this ridiculous friggin' story here, which is Donald Trump again putting pressure on Volodymyr Zelensky as opposed to Vladimir Putin, which again, I don't know if he's got this whole thing fucking just ass backwards and nobody's told him yet. But this is as Trump heads to Europe, Russian drones hit Kyiv and Zelensky urges sanctions. Before we get into hearing the clip from Donald Trump and him putting the pressure back on Zelensky to make a deal, I wanted to reiterate, the ongoing attacks that have not ceased and have only increased since Donald Trump has taken power in his second term, since Donald Trump said he could end this war in 24 hours, since Donald Trump said he could sit these two people down in a room and get this thing over. And it doesn't matter if he's elected. The moment he knows he's going to be in office, doesn't even have to be fucking inaugurated yet, that motherfucker was going to be done. These two people are going to listen to him. The guns would be down. We're going to have a ceasefire. Now, not calling for a ceasefire, knows he can't control Putin. Putin continues to slap him around and kick him in the dick every night. It just is very embarrassing. And the only way out that Donald Trump sees, and only route and path to his fucking Nobel Peace Prize that he so desperately fucking wants, is putting pressure on our ally, the country that we made sign a piece of paper saying if they gave up their nuclear arsenal that we would protect them in the case of this very fucking thing happening. But again, who remembers the Budapest Memorandum? But again, this is just a little, I don't know, should we get into the video? It's only 2 minutes and 50 seconds long. So why do you say we get into this? This might give us a little bit more information on what is taking place. And then we can get into the clip again of Donald Trump outside the White House putting pressure on Zelensky and not on Russia or Vladimir Putin. So we say I make this full screen for you guys and see what's said here.
We are watching President Trump taking questions ahead of his departure for the United Kingdom. He called it a great honor to be the first elected political leader invited for a second state visit by the British monarch. On the Russia-Ukraine peace efforts, he says President Zelensky will have to make a deal. He also says it takes two to tango and that he's working to get Presidents Putin and Zelensky to sit down together. Asked whether he has confidence in FBI Director Kash Patel, who's testifying on Capitol Hill right now, he praised the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and then pointed to Patel's work in getting the Charlie Kirk shooting.
I mean, how ridiculous is it to ask somebody how much confidence he has when he had 1,000% confidence in the fact that he could end this war in 24 hours? And we've seen literally everything but. We've seen fucking an explosion of drone attacks, missile strikes, fucking incursions into NATO airspace, provocations, meetings with fucking our enemies, blowing off deadlines. I mean, you name it, and we've seen it. From Vladimir Putin to literally kick Donald Trump in the dick every single day, to spit in his face and give him a good fucking slap in every single day. And why are we asking him who has fucking confidence in his confidence is what I'm fucking asking. Who gives a shit about his confidence? Clearly his confidence doesn't mean fuck from a hole in a bucket.
Suspect in custody. And the president also teased his upcoming conversation with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Friday, saying they have reached a deal to save TikTok. Let's bring in
fuck off. I don't give a fuck about fucking TikTok. All right, so Russia continued its nightly strikes on Ukraine, including in the capital, Kyiv, as U.S. President Donald Trump prepared to depart for its state visit to the UK on Tuesday, while the White House efforts to broker peace between the two combatants still stalled, as it has. Ukraine's Air Force said Russia launched 113 drones into the country overnight into Tuesday morning. 89 were shot down or suppressed. 22 drones impacted across 6 locations with falling debris falling in 2 locations. Air defenses were active in the sky over Kyiv. Local air defenses said drone attacks caused fires at a shopping center and an industrial facility on the outskirts of the capital. Ukraine's State Emergency Service reported on Telegram, quote, during the fire extinguishing, the aggressor struck the site again. We've talked about that again. That's that double tap. right? That's that fucking disgusting double tap that we see. So, hit it once, wait till the fucking rescuers show up, wait till the people sifting through the rubble, maybe the family members, maybe onlookers are fucking watching, right? Maybe the media shows up and then fucking boom, hit it again in 10, 15 minutes after they think the site's fucking safe and cleared, right? Where they think the destruction's already done. So that's, again, nothing new that we've seen, a tactic that Israel has continued to use, a tactic that Russia has continuously used. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the Russian attacks were reported in Kyiv, Mykolaiv, Zaporizhia, Sumy, Kharkiv, Donetsk, and Kherson. Now is the time to implement a joint defense of our European sky with a multi-layer air defense system, he wrote on Telegram. Here are some pictures from firefighters working at the site of the buildings hit during a Russian strike in Zaporizhia. At least 6 people were killed and 55 injured in Russian attacks across Ukraine, according to Ukrainian officials. The attacks included a rocket artillery strike on the southern city of Zaporizhia. Russia's defense ministry, meanwhile, said its forces downed at least 87 Ukrainian drones overnight into Tuesday. Russia's ongoing full-scale invasion, which began February 2022, is expected to top. Britain is the leading yada, yada, yada. Trump has ruled out deploying yada, yada, yada. Moscow has repeatedly said it would explain yada, 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 yada. 1 month after the summit. So, again, I think that's just kind of recapping where we are up until this moment. But, Zelensky is absolutely trying to get it through to Donald Trump that we need some serious plans here. I believe he actually made a comment on, let me see if I can pull up this. I think it was something about sanctions, if I'm not mistaken. Zelensky tariff statement. I don't think anything I just typed there is spelled right, but hopefully I'll know what I'm talking about. Let's see here. In September 20, Republican endorsed and that was the original 50% tariffs. I could be mistaken, but I thought recently Zelensky said that we need some definitive, maybe this is it. Defense tariffs on needed plans to curb China. Volodymyr urged to move faster against Russia, warning that Putin is using time and diplomacy to his advantage. Zelensky described Trump's tariffs plan targeting nations trading with Moscow, including India, as understandable. The remarks come days after Modi's meeting with Putin in the SCO summit. Let's see what else this says. To cause of peace with over 260,000 tons of Indian diesel imported by Ukraine this year. Even Kyiv has leaned on Indian fuel supplies despite criticizing its Russian ties. So I don't think I'll find that, but I'm pretty sure I thought he said something a little bit more strongly worded. I could be mistaken. Maybe it was something old, but I'll see if I can research that when we're playing one of these other clips. But what do you say we get into, let's see, we already did that one. Let's get into this clip here where Donald Trump's actually actively putting the pressure back on Ukraine as opposed to, again, Vladimir Putin and Russia. Let's see what he said here outside of the White House. And this was, I believe, this morning. It says moments ago. Let's take a look.
Nobody has ever done on the border like I've done.
Mr. President, what will you tell President Zelensky if you meet with him in New York?
Well, he's going to have to get going and make a deal.
I don't know if I can't quite make out the question.
Nobody has ever done on the border like I've done.
Mr. President, what will you tell President Zelensky if you meet with him in New York?
Well, he's going to have to get going.
I think he says, what will you tell President Zelensky if you meet with him in New York? I don't know why New York if he's off to the UK. Maybe I'm hearing it wrong. But I believe the question generally is, what would you say to Zelensky if you meet him coming up? So, and he says,
going and make a deal.
Will you tell President Zelensky if you meet with him in New York?
Well, he's going to have to get going and make a deal. He's going to have to make a deal. Zelensky's going to have to make a deal. And Europe has to stop buying oil from Russia.
Okay, what deal? What fucking phantom deal is on the table right now that Volodymyr Zelensky could just fucking waltz up and sign against the fucking entire constitution of his country? What is the deal? What deal are we talking about? So now not only is it on the fucking country that's being attacked and bombed night after night, and fucking the children have been kidnapped and fucking brutally beaten and fucking sold on the black market, had their names changed, elderly citizens fucking brutally murdered, raped, kidnapped. What else? I mean, the fucking war crime after war crime after war crime after war crime. And this motherfucker thinks that it's back on Ukraine, that they have to sit back after all this and be the ones to pen the entire fucking peace deal. They have to be the ones to sit back and draw this whole fucking plan up and say, hey, this is what we'll give you. No, that's not how it fucking works. And that's not how the president of the United States is supposed to fucking engage in this process. This fucking He-Man, tough guy bullshit ain't working with anybody. But if you're going to fucking, use that fucking, persona to your effect, why don't you use it against the country that's, again, attacking our ally that started this fucking war, that is responsible for the egregious number of war crimes? How about we start there?
Okay? They talk, but they have to stop buying oil from Russia.
And he says this, the whole fucking stop buying oil from Russia, which brings us to the Guardian article here. Trump says Russian oil purchases by the EU and NATO countries must stop immediately. And that was updated when he said that Zelensky will have to make a deal and that Ukraine is in serious trouble as he departs for the UK state visit. I think this just kind of gives a summary of things. Zelensky will have to get going and make a deal, says Trump. Let's see if this has Zelensky's statement, because I read it somewhere. I know I read it somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure where I read the statement now that I think about it. Putin says 100,000 soldiers take part in Russian, Belarusian military drills. Poland faces new questions. Might have been on one of the social sites. I'm not 100% sure, but again, I'll see if I can find that. But that, brings us into this reporting. Any timeline 3 hours ago, obviously being reported as we're going here, the closing summary. Let's see what the closing summary is. U.S. President Donald Trump will have to get going and make a deal. We saw that. Speaking to reporters, we saw that one. Spain's decision comes out to Spanish, so I don't think they really give too much here as a recap. So just wanted to make sure we get that also out there to you people as well, which obviously brings us into the ongoing humanitarian crisis that continues to grow in front of our face, that we continuously report on and have to highlight here, which is the Israeli military begins its ground invasion of Gaza City amongst the starvation of hundreds of thousands, if not fucking millions of people. Palestinians in Gaza City reported a night of heavy bombardment. A UN commission said Israel was committing genocide in Gaza. Israel rejected it as falsehoods, as they typically do. The Israeli military launched early stages of its ground offensive to seize Gaza City overnight, as the Israeli military official said Tuesday, as Palestinians in the enclave said they faced a night of relentless, heavy bombardment. Last night, we transitioned into the next phase, or the main phase of the plan for Gaza City, the official said, speaking on the condition of anonymity in the line with military guidelines. We are moving deeper toward the center of Gaza City, he said, stressing that it will be a gradual process. The official said 2 divisions were maneuvering towards the center of Gaza City. Once the enclave's largest population center, and that additional divisions will be joining in the coming days. Gaza is burning, Israel's defense minister Israel Katz said in a post on X. We will not relent or turn back until the mission is complete. And here's just, some footage of the Israeli military launched early airstrike to stage the ground offensive yesterday in Gaza City. Israeli military September 16th. And again, this is as the independent UN commission said that Israel was committing a genocide in Gaza, citing statements by Israeli civilian and military authorities and the conduct of forces on the ground, which it said indicated an intention to destroy in whole or in part. Which, again, a lot of people fucking miss. Ben Shapiro loves to fucking leave that part out of the definitional use of the word genocide, which is in whole or in part with intent to destroy a certain subset of people. Palestinians in the Gaza Strip being the victims this time. Israel's foreign ministry rejected those conclusions based on falsehoods, again, as they usually do. But this is a CNN article talking about the UN Commission saying Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. An independent United Nations inquiry has concluded for the first time that Israel has committed genocide against Palestinians in Gaza, and that the country's top leaders have incited genocide in what it has described as most authoritative UN finding to date. And again, this is above and beyond the UN Special Rapporteur's report, Francesca Albanese, that we highlighted months ago, if not years ago at this point, talking about how her report on that entire conflict up to that point had revealed in her in the evidence she uncovered in her fact-finding missions that absolutely Israel was engaged in an active and ongoing genocide against the Palestinian people, right? So in a 72-page report released on Tuesday, the commission, which was set up by the UN, here, let me see if I can make this a little bigger for you guys. I apologize. I always forget to do that. And then I can do this kind of so you can see the whole thing. Found out that Israel had committed has, quote, committed 4 genocidal acts in the enclave since October 7th, 2023, when Hamas carried out deadly attacks on Israel and Israel launched its military campaign. These acts include killing of Palestinians in Gaza, causing Palestinians serious bodily harm and mental harm, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, and imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. And I think the only one that's left out, if I'm remembering the 4 conditions, is the active transfer of children. Let's see here. Let me see if I'm getting that right. I want to make sure I'm getting that right. 4x genocide. Killing members of the group, causing harm. We saw deliberately inflicting the group of parts calculated to bring the whole in part. We saw that 4, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. So 1, serious bodily harm. 2, deliberately inflicting on the part. That's 2. That's 3, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. So the one they left out was, what's the one the hell did they leave out? Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated. They have that. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. That's 3. Serious bodily harm is 2. Killing members of the group is 1. I mean, is that just fucking too obvious? That's the one they left out, is killing members of the group. Must be something I'm leaving out there, something I'm missing there, because it literally says 1, killing members of the group. I don't think we can dispute that, right? I don't think that's fucking under dispute by any stretch of the imagination. Anyways, nearly 65,000 Palestinians have been killed, and I can't even stand saying that number anymore because I fucking, with my entire heart, know that is so much of an undercalculation and underestimated number that it's almost ridiculous to continue to say at this point. October 7th, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry there, the Israeli government has maintained it's conducting the war in Gaza, yada, yada, yada. Israel can... the Trump administration backed Israel. You know what I saw, too, that was interesting? Did you guys know this? Let's see. I thought I sent I did send it to myself. Did you guys ever hear of this one? Israel accused of planting mysterious spy devices near the White House. I either, totally fucking forgot about this and, had heard about it and totally forgot about it, or, this just totally slipped past me. So this was from 9/12/2019. Who was president? 9/12/2019. The U.S. government concluded within the past 2 years that Israel was the most likely behind the placement of cell phone surveillance devices that were found near the White House and other sensitive locations around Washington, according to 3 former senior U.S. officials with knowledge of the matter. But unlike most on locations when flagrant incidents of foreign spying have been discovered on American soil, the Trump administration did not rebuke the Israeli government, and there was no consequences for Israel's behavior, one former official has said. The miniature surveillance devices, colloquially known as stingrays, mimic regular cell towers to fool cell phones into giving them their locations and identifying information. Formerly called International Mobile Subscriber Identity Catchers, or IMSI catchers, they can also capture the contents of calls and data use. The devices were likely intended to spy on President Donald Trump himself, one of the former officials said, as well as his top aides and closest associates, though it's not clear whether the Israeli efforts were successful. I bet they were. Trump is reputed to be lax in observing White House security protocols. Politico reported in May 2018, yada, yada, yada. Chinese spies are often listening. But, I mean, I found this to be... something that may give us a point or two, a thing or two behind the scenes as to why Israel has so much control right now over Donald Trump. But I just, again, found that to be something at least worth bringing back up to mention, at least, you know. Let's see here, and I believe I also have, yeah, this one right here. So let's dive into this. I'll put it right there so you guys can see it, make it full screen. I am going to speed it up just a touch. So again, we have a lot to try to get through. We have an hour to try to do it. Hopefully I can get through at least what I wanted to cover. I know I have a few add-ons in there, but this is, again, about the UN inquiry about the ongoing genocide in Gaza, again, perpetrated by the Israeli government. And they speak to an Israeli ex-diplomat here. I don't know if we'll get to that much into the report. Only a couple minutes I want to get into where the actual UN report is talked about. But here, what do you say we get into this? I appreciate it. Hey, guys, I'm Boston Brian. This is Blood Politics. I appreciate you watching. I know these are difficult times, difficult situations, difficult things to be talking about, but I appreciate you guys sticking with it, fighting through it. I know it's hard for you guys. I know it's fucking taxing on you guys. I know it's really, really draining to continuously watch and read and learn about all this shit, but it's important. You guys know it's important. I know it's important, and I really want to applaud you guys and show my respect to you guys for, you know, how you know, well how well you continuously indulge in this stuff, and you know, you're coming back day after day, trying to learn, trying to be the best Americans you can possibly be, and I applaud you and I appreciate you guys for doing so. So hit that like button, share the stream out, join the channel as a member, or subscribe. It would very much help us in the old algorithmic effects. So what do you say we get into it? Thank you, guys.
The United Nations Commission of Inquiry has released a landmark report stating Israel's committing genocide in Gaza. It found Israel committed 4 of 5 acts of genocide under the 1948 Convention. The report says since October...
So what was I missing there? I said 4. Let me see if I type in 5, if it gives me 5. Excuse me, I had the number wrong. That was my fault. That's why I was so confused. All right, so the 5 are as goes: 1, killing members of the group; 2, causing serious bodily harm. We got that. 3, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction and whole or apart. We got that. 4, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. We got that. And then 5, forcefully transferring children from one group to another. So I was right in my original assessments. I should have just stuck with what I fucking said to begin with. My apologies. But yes, apparently the UN finding there is the only one they left out was the forcibly transferring children of one group to another group, including the forceful removal and displacement of children from their own group to another, aiming to change their cultural and familial identity. Again, that is, I would think, kind of a gray one, right? Because a lot of the times, if you're trying to wipe out in whole or in part, unlike what the Russians are doing, right, you don't really want the kids to hang around, right? You don't. Like, if you're trying to erase them, ethnically cleanse, remove them from the situation, get them out of there so you and your people can inhabit the territory, you don't typically want the children of the people that you've been actively murdering and starving for some time sticking around so that when they grow up, they can have the potential to, recollect and recall the horrendous times they went through and know who was perpetrating that and who was behind that, thus leading to eventually maybe more danger. So I don't know. Like, I'm sure there's been a lot of cases where number 5 is not met, where you can still make, as the UN and other agencies continue to do so, an accurate portrayal of reality that describes the ongoing genocide without actively saying that they're transferring children from one group to another. Because I don't think, in my opinion, Israel gives a fuck about that. I think that would totally go against everything that, the goals of the government in this situation. So I don't know if them not meeting that criteria should give anybody reason to question the motives or the findings of this group, right? I just wanted to make that very fucking clear. So, all right, let's dive into it.
2023, Israeli forces have bombed civilians in homes, shelters, and safe zones. More than half of those killed were women, children, and elderly people. Palestinians have suffered torture, sexual violence, forced displacement, and cultural destruction. Israel imposed a siege on Gaza, cutting off food, water, power, and medical aid, starving Palestinians, and ignoring orders of the International Court of Justice. Israel deliberately inflicted conditions to destroy Palestinians in Gaza, including reproductive violence, when an IVF clinic was attacked to prevent births. These are the same 4 crimes that the International Court of Justice ordered Israel to take all measures to prevent back in January 2024. Since that ruling, nearly 40,000 Palestinians have been killed. Navi Pillay is the chair of the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the occupied Palestinian territory. She says the goal of the Israeli government is abundantly clear.
The Commission concludes that statements made by Israeli authorities are direct evidence of genocidal intent.
Okay, so that's a big fucking point too. A point that I've been making, a point that I've tried to make on different programs, I've tried to make in different fucking interviews and different debates with different people. And it's not just the fucking things that we're seeing with our own eyes. It's literally what we're hearing with our own ears too. It is the direct statements from different governmental officials in Israel that hold positions of power to enact these fucking policies, that have clearly told us, ambassadors that have told us, representatives of the IDF, representatives of any organization, again, representing the government of Israel, to tell us their fucking intent. They don't want the two-state fucking solution. They don't want the Palestinian people having a sovereignty over their territory. They want them eliminated, gone, erased. They want the territory for themselves. They want them moved anywhere and everywhere but this fucking place, so they don't have to see them ever fucking again. And that's what they're actively trying to fucking accomplish right now. So above and beyond what we see with our own eyes, with the fucking videos of the babies starving and the men, women, and children starving over there, is again what we're hearing and have heard with our own ears as well, right? So that has to be taken into account, because intent, it is not just if you are checking the boxes of genocide off. You need to have that specific intent, that motive behind it, that says, yes, this is exactly what we are trying to enact. This is the purpose. This is the goal, right? Not that just by fucking, incompetency and in ignorance, these things are taking place. But this is the fucking active goal by this state. And that is hugely important, a really important distinction that is made.
And also concludes that the pattern of conduct is circumstantial evidence for genocidal intent, and that genocidal intent was the only reasonable inference that could be drawn from a totality of the evidence. Therefore, the Commission concludes that the Israeli authorities and Israeli security forces have the genocidal intent to destroy, in whole or in part, the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. The Commission finds that the Israeli political and military leaders are agents of the State of Israel. Therefore, their acts are attributable to the State of Israel. The Commission therefore concludes that the State of Israel bears responsibility for the failure to prevent genocide, for the commission of genocide, and for the failure to punish genocide against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip.
Again, people much more knowledgeable than I, much more fucking in tuned with the situations in the area, with the history of the area, with much more access to evidence, photographic evidence, fucking satellite evidence, whatever it may be that they can get their hands on, much more than I have to my abilities, telling you to your face, yes, this is what's going on. This is our findings. Once again, making it clear for the world. So for anybody that you now see not calling it a genocide or disputing the fact that it is an ongoing genocide, you have more than the overwhelming evidence in your pocket to suggest that they are either willfully and purposefully denying reality, or they are just completely ignorant to the fact and haven't spent enough time learning about the situation and learning and seeing what's actually going on. Right? That's the only two things that I can fucking infer from that case, from that sort of situation in this. Because it blows my mind that people can still be questioning this situation and what's going on and the intent and the fucking definitional uses of the word. We're fucking well past that at this point. All right? We are so fucking far beyond that at this point. It's ridiculous that we still have to bring this up. But we do, and that's why we continue to fucking play, the findings from, again, much more knowledgeable groups and people than I hear, Boston Brian and fucking Blunt Politics, in my opinions. So again, I rest my case on, again, the intellectuals that, again, are telling you the facts of the reality of the case, and not just me. So let's see if they go on here to say, I don't know, did I skip any here? Let me see.
Yeah, to punish genocide against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip.
The view from Israel. Alan Pinkas is a former Israeli diplomat, and he joins us from Tel Aviv. Alan, this report isn't intended to be detailed. It's intended to be damning. The convention that defines genocide as a crime was directly inspired by the genocide.
I mean, one just has to look at the fucking area, right? I mean, the first word that would pop into my mind and does pop into my mind, you know, when you think total destruction, total erasure of fucking any standing buildings or the majority of fucking standing buildings, to keep it, you know, 100, to keep it a buck. Like, what else do you think is the goal? What else can be determined as the goal of fucking just overwhelming carpet bombing of one of the most in probably the most heavily populated areas on fucking Earth? Like, what else can you determine from that? That's the first thing I think of.
Of 6 million Jews by Nazi Germany. What is Israel's perception of international justice and the UN's role in it?
Oh, official Israel, official Israel predictably calls it fake and calls it a bogus report with a built-in anti-Israeli bias, and exactly what you would expect, what you would have expected from an official Israeli response.
Not to again get too sidetracked on the already overwhelming amount of stories that I'm trying to cover here today, but didn't Ben Shapiro recently get shut down? Let's see here. I don't know. Was he on Breakfast Club? Fuck. I watch so much shit. It's so hard to remember where I saw these clips, you know? I think it might have been the Breakfast Club, or was it on with Mehdi? Was it on with Mehdi? Let's see here. See if I can find it real quick. Mehdi Hassan responds. No, Mehdi Hassan responded, so it must have been Shapiro earlier on the Breakfast Club. See if I can find it real quick. If not, I won't waste your time. But again, it's just him completely leaving out in whole or in part from the definitional use of the word. Let's see. I'll just type in Breakfast Club. If I can't, that doesn't bring it up, then we'll continue. My apologies. I just try to be as thorough as possible, you know? Genocide report. Breakfast Club. Christ, I type like a fucking... All right, maybe we can just... Oh, here it is right here. Here it is right here. Here it is right here. Play. What's this? Oh, close?
Pictures, particularly drone pictures.
So you understand why people are upset about what Israel is doing?
I mean, I certainly understand that conflict is incredibly ugly. And when you look at pictures, particularly drone pictures of wrecked areas, then it's very...
Kids being killed.
I mean, any conflict...
Civilians, casual civilians, as you just said.
I mean, yes, although I will say, obviously, that I believe that Israel has been as meticulous as complete air superiority. If Israel...
I don't plan on watching the whole clip, so I can see if I can skip forward to where he's asked about that report.
Going house to house, pretty war, particularly untrue.
Okay.
And they basically went out to their membership definition of genocide. They don't actually even define genocide.
Off the pure definition of leading association of genocide scholars has declared that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza based off the pure definition of...
Well, it's not actually, if you read their actual study, it's not based on the quote unquote pure definition of genocide. They don't actually even define genocide in the document. And they...
Listen, motherfucker, I don't know if they do or don't define genocide in the document that he's referring to. And again, it's not 100% clear to me if he's referring to the UN report or if this was before and he's talking about another group of genocide scholars or people that are, professional fucking people that report on genocides. But I don't think it matters because the fact that either one of them isn't the definitional, the definition of the word genocide isn't in there. It's not fucking hard to find nowadays, Ben. It's really not hard. It's not a difficult definition either. It's not a paragraph. It's not something you have to study or it's nuanced or it needs debate. It's pretty fucking simple and clear, in whole or in part. An entire group trying to erase that. It's pretty fucking clear. Any sensible human being can pretty much surmise that from what's going on. But again, listen to how he tries to leave out the in whole or in part, because that's a lot of people think it has to be the attempted eradication of every single fucking member. And having that been accomplished, which is not the case. Again, Nazis didn't manage to kill every single Jew in Europe. They fucking came damn close. I know that. And they did their damnedest to try. But again, we actively acknowledge that as a Holocaust, as a genocide, as it should be. But it doesn't mean that they got everybody, right? That's not that's not the definitional use, which is what Ben Shapiro would try to have you believe, that like every person needs to be gone before you can consider it a genocide, which is just stupid.
Basically went out to their membership, but they didn't go out to the entire membership. They went out to a generic membership. It is very easy to join the International Association of Genocide Scholars. In fact, there were several people yesterday
That's
who just
what it
signed
was.
up and were
The
immediately
International Association of Genocide Scholars. That's what it was.
admitted, even though they have no actual background in genocide. The question is not whether some sort of coterie of people who call themselves experts in an issue are quote unquote experts on the issue. The question is whether the definition is met. The definition of genocide is not met in Gaza by any stretch of the imagination. And you can cite to me, a group that I hadn't heard of until 2 seconds ago, and nobody had heard of until 2 seconds ago, that voted in a particular way. That doesn't make a difference definitionally.
So what is a genocide to you?
A genocide is the attempt to forcibly destroy an entire population.
In whole or in part, right? That's a fucking big distinction that we have to put in there, right? That's a huge fucking chunk of the pie. That's a huge piece of the puzzle that Ben just happens to leave out in this instance. And again, not to get too sidetracked on that one. Let's see, I already did that. Let's see if this has any more for us here. See if I can get back to this. See what you're saying. Yes, you are.
Look, you have to understand here something. Israelis at large are absolutely in denial over what's going on in Gaza, and they have been in denial over how the war has been prosecuted. Now, the UN is always seen in Israel as some kind of a nemesis, and its organizations or affiliate bodies are seen as
and please hopefully the lightning doesn't strike me down as I say this, but even Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I don't know if she was on with Megyn Kelly or Tucker Carlson or one of them, but even fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene was like, it is remarkable to me the amount of power that the Israeli lobby has over almost every single one of my colleagues, is I think, almost a direct quote, paraphrasing a little bit, but pretty close to what she said. And it's amazing to hear her be like, as somebody that, quote unquote on the inside, right, being like, listen, it's fucking crazy the power that these people have over my colleagues. And that's on both sides of the goddamn aisle, right? I mean, again, not to fucking, putting, not to trust anything that she says, but again, that's likely and been very widely reported and corroborated by a multitude of other organizations. So not just from her, but it's strange to see that she's now willing to say and speak out against the power that the Israeli lobby has on the American politicians and the American government here.
Possessing or harboring anti-Israeli sentiment. And so there you have it. But here's the thing. This commission, working as part of the UN Human Rights Commission, this particular commission, not only quotes the Genocide Convention, but quotes the Association of Genocide Scholars. And it must be said, I am in no position to
which is what Ben Shapiro was just referring to.
Verify what's in the report, how accurate it is, but I take it seriously because this very commission issued several reports in the past, and in all of them, Neve, they stopped short of using the term genocide.
I disagree.
You may, Alan, of course, it is one thing for you to take this seriously. It's a very different thing for the government of Israel to take this seriously. I mean,
but I disagree because, like I said, that special report from the UN rapporteur that we put in, that we talked about some time ago, was very clear in its use of the word. So I find that to be horse shit. But again, just to reiterate and further report that the Israeli military ground invasion of Gaza City has begun in earnest and will be, according to them, a slow-moving affair. So they can be incredibly calculated. Let's see, any other photos? Yeah, of course. I also saw a video of, just minutes before a building was struck by Israeli missiles, people, citizens trying to get their goods out of the fucking building in such a hurry that they were literally just throwing it over balconies, down to people waiting in the courtyard there, just tossing shit out the windows, running away from the building because minutes after that it was going to be struck. You know, I mean, you give somebody fucking 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes to get their life out of their how long would it take you to wrap up what you would consider your life and move it out of where you live, your home, your apartment, or your condo? You know, just think about if you had 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever the fuck, right? And how scary that would be, knowing that a missile's raining down on your head after those couple minutes. It's crazy. Crazy. All right, which brings us on to, let me see if I can get rid of a few of these so I don't have so many stories up. Now we're going to get into this ridiculousness that's been going on. I don't know which one we should start with. We got a bunch of them. We should probably start with, you know, just talking about the oddities that have been going on. I think Kyle kind of does it pretty well in this.
So there's a video of him.
Yeah. I think he does pretty well in this video here. We could probably just kind of skim through this video a little bit, and it pretty much covers, you know, a lot of the questions that have been raised by, you know, Kash Patel's statements, the investigation by itself, the timeline, what's been, you know, reported on so far. So we also have Dan Bongino with Megyn Kelly. Kash Patel was on with Brian Kilmeade. What's this? This is more Fox lies that I apparently sent myself. So there's a bunch that we have to dive into here. There's also a breakdown, if we get into it, of the weapon itself to kind of corroborate some of the stories that, you know, the gun was assembled, disassembled, reassembled, disassembled, and reassembled again. Just none of it really lining up, considering that the weapon that was used is not one of the weapons like an AR platform or like an M16 or an AK that is, you know, or can be with somebody that is knowledgeable on it, like rapidly broken down into, you know, small chunks and stuff like that, right? This is something that a lot of the videos that I've seen on it, people are on fucking even workbenches, nicely lit places where it's securely in place. They're using tools and shit. Takes, you know, several minutes even with those in, you know, in that environment. So a lot of discrepancies. I just want to kind of go through just a few of them here. And again, the incompetency and people calling for Kash Patel's firing, even calls from inside of the house. There was also a video from Greg Kelly. I don't know if we'll get to Greg Kelly's bullshit, but where did that video go? Did I not send that one to myself? Maybe it's for good, but I can find it on Newsmax if we get to it. But let's just go over some of these discrepancies here and see if we can lay them out for you guys right now. So this is Kyle Kalinske. Let me see if I can speed it up just a little bit as usual. See if we can get through just a touch more. 1.15 seems good, and let's get into it.
All right, welcome to the show, y'all. We have a very, very weird one for you today.
Like I said, I'm going to skip through. I'm not going to cover the whole thing, obviously, because it would take far too long, but I am going to skip through as he's talking and see if we can find like the pertinent parts here.
You do not want to miss today's show. We're going to get to a lot of stuff. So in just a second, 200 agents blasting delays and vowing no more Mickey Mouse.
So this is just a little bit of what the reasons why Kash Patel is under fire. Kash Patel convened 200 agents blasting delays and vowing no more Mickey Mouse operations laced with profanity, according to officials. Falsely declared Charlie Kirk's killer was in custody. Critics cite his inexperienced social media fixation and purge of veteran agents as weakening the FBI's response. Patel and Deputy Dan Bongino flew to Utah to oversee the investigation as pressure mounts on the Bureau's leadership. It goes on here. He goes on to explain that a little bit, but there's a few other instances here that I wanted to talk about. Like, let's see if I can pull this one up here.
Originally from the Daily Beast here. Tyler Robinson, of course, is 22. He did the shooting. The man arrested in connection with the assassination of Charlie Kirk comes from a MAGA family, his grandmother has revealed. Although MAGA figureheads have been quick to point fingers at the left for Kirk's death, Tyler's grandmother, Debbie Robinson, 69, insists they come from a family of Trump supporters.
Again, a lot of mixed reporting still going on out there. I think we seem to be getting some clarifications on a few things now. Apparently, the shooter was independent, was not registered to either Democrat or Republican. Again, ongoing learning more and more as the case develops. But just the things that we've been told before just don't line up. And let me see if I can catch a few of the things that I thought were kind of fishy here, because like I said, going over this whole video would just take too long. And again, I don't have a producer to sift through all this beforehand, but I think he gets into it right around here.
means a difference. It makes a difference. Okay. Now I know I'm getting into the weeds here, but bear with me because I'm giving you all this evidence as to why I and many people thought, oh, this is definitely a far right shooter. But I'm gonna throw some curveballs at you in a second, and you might be going, well, maybe not. So wait for it. All right. So now we're gonna get to the murky parts. Robinson responded to his father, saying he would rather die by suicide than turn himself in.
I think we know all this. I'm trying to get to like the actual evidence. Here we go. Right here we go.
He's walking to the event where he's about to shoot Charlie Kirk. And you're about to see.
And this is about the time. This is about the timeline and what they say about the weapon being assembled, disassembled, reassembled, disassembled. And again, it's just not really making much sense. Again, they're saying he changed his clothes several times, but put back on the clothes that he used during the shooting. Like, why the fuck would you do that? Again, if you had already broken down the weapon that you just used, why would you fucking put it back together if it takes 5-10 minutes to do so when you're trying to scramble out of a scene? Like, does it make sense to sit there and put the fucking thing back together and then hide it? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. He's supposedly had it when he was leaving. He didn't have it when he was leaving. Like, none of it really is making sense. But I think he goes over it here.
Of number one, how he's dressed, but number two, how he's walking, because this is going to be super important because you're going to understand why he's walking the way he's walking with this massive limp. All right, so here we go. So he's walking up the street. No, very, very noticeable limp. Why does he have that noticeable limp? Because he has the rifle that he used down his pant leg.
Right.
And
so apparently, through what we've known through the investigation, what they're telling us, supposedly he's got it assembled here, it disassembled before he gets on the roof. It assembled it on the roof, disassembled it getting off the roof, and then assembled the fucking thing again to put it in the bush. How? Again, this is not something you just, break down like it's a fucking, some pistols you can, or some, different rifle platforms that are, known for being easily broken down. Like, this is not one of them, nor does this particular type of rifle, which is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was a Mauser. I think they said 30-06 Type 98, which is, if to my recollection, like a World War II style type, but I'm sure they make, replicas in different, different types of those. But again, it does not even break down to a very small pieces, even when the barrel is removed, different things are disassembled from, like, it does not become like this ultra portable fucking thing, right? So it's not what it was meant to do. It's not what it was made for. That's not what it does. And it's not easily done. It's not made to do fucking on site in the field. Like, it's crazy. But here he
can't really straighten that leg out. So he's, hobbling along here, limping along
again,
here.
This is all going back to the incompetence and arrogance of Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and the way this has been handled. All right, and to suggest nothing else. Right. That's why I'm highlighting again the shit that doesn't make sense that we've heard from these idiots. That again are, and again, a lot of this to be said. Like, all right, this is my question. And I'm sure, do we have any ex-law enforcement? Do we have any, law enforcement junkies, people that know the system and know how it works? Like, typically in movies or in shows or in different situations, high-profile individuals that are responsible for investigations, if they are close to the victim, don't they typically remove themselves? Don't they typically stand back get removed from the investigation so that a partial investigation can be undertaken from somebody that doesn't have the proximity to the victim? Am I crazy on that? So can't the fact that Kash Patel considers himself one of Kirk, Charlie Kirk's friends, can't that go along to hurt his case in the future? Like, can't a lot of these missteps again be used by a suave and smart defense lawyer to again combat the prosecution's prosecution's theory and the evidence that they have? But I always thought it was something like, if you had an emotional attachment, if you were close to a situation, or like you were removed, or you'd remove yourself or step down or let somebody else handle that investigation. Right. I mean, maybe that's not how it works, and I'm just kind of making that up. But I feel like that would be smart to do, right? Considering you don't lead the investigation with emotion and make mistakes, right? It would be good for somebody that doesn't have the attachment, the involvement to do it, so they can maybe conduct it in a more professional way. That's just my thinking. That's just where my thinking takes me on that. But what do you say? What do you say? How do I play it? There you go.
The other thing to take note of is he clearly didn't park in the parking lot of the college. he parked elsewhere and then walked there. And this is him, I think, after the deed is done, walking through the back. But okay, so you saw what he was wearing there: black shirt, jeans, walking with a massive limp. Okay, ready? Now, according to the official story, he goes there with a gun, right? But
Listen.
Okay, well, this is weird because, as I'm going to show you, here he is, like, walking up the stairs to get to the roof. Where's the gun?
Right. So they say this is the moment where they capture him on the security cam, making his way to and through the campus up to the roof. Where's the weapon? Where's the limp? Okay, so let's say he broke the weapon down. Why was it put together to begin with and stuffed down his pants? And why did he walk a certain distance like that and then all of a sudden decide to break it down? Maybe it got too much. That's probably plausible. Maybe he realized he looked like an idiot. Right, but that means that he had to, in some way, shape, or form, get up on the roof, reassemble it, take the shot, disassemble it, get down off the roof, reassemble it, and then leave it in the bushes. Yeah, but he's not limping. Well, everybody's saying it's in his leg, but he's not limping here like he was. That's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of showing this. He's not limping. Right? Right?
Because, as I'm going to show you, here he is, like, walking up the stairs to get to the roof. Where's the gun? Where's the gun? Where's the gun? Right. Now, what they say is...
Look at this picture right here on the far right. Look at this picture on the far right. You can see his fucking, what appears to be his cell phone bulging out of his pants. You don't think we'd be able to see a fucking 30-06 rifle in that picture sticking out of his pants? And again, you guys know me. You guys, people that have watched this show know that I'm not a fucking tinfoil hat guy. I'm not huge on conspiracy theories. I don't really fucking even lend credence to them, right? But my original thought, and not to get too graphic, but is my original thought, and I stick with it, is that what we witnessed was the exit and not the entry. Right? It just, statistically and typically, the bigger of the two traumas is the exit, not the entry. Right? And I just think that's what we saw. And again, I'm not a conspiracy. For some reason, these are the things that I thought right away, and they seem to be, again, not adding up with the information that we're getting from the case. Again, the Turning Point's crew on the scene, fucking, what was it, 5-10 minutes after this, removing cameras, stepping all in the crime. That's an active fucking crime scene. He can't be going in there removing cameras and stepping through the blood and fucking traking. Like, where was the security to cordon that place off? Why were people allowed to get cameras and go back into that spot? Is another question. Why was the other guy there that was supposedly at the fucking at 9/11, supposedly at the Salt Lake City, responsible for the Salt Lake City bomb threats, and at this thing, which is supposedly like a fucking 0.0000000.7% chance or some bullshit that you could possibly be in those positions at once, actively saying that it was him, saying to shoot him, right? Like, a lot of things ain't adding up, and I'm not that guy. I'm just not that guy, but it's just like, hey, like, things that I originally thought, really, I'm not getting answers to here. Not getting answers to here. And it seems to be being used to the benefit of people like Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, Laura Loomer, and a lot of these other people to, again, stoke more fear, attack more lefties, gain more power. Benjamin Netanyahu's now actively using Charlie Kirk's death to his advantage, trying to get more support for Israel. Like, what the fuck's going on here? And I'm not that guy. Not that guy.
Okay, so he walked there with the rifle. Clearly, based on the TMZ video, he was limping, right? Okay. Then when he gets there, in order to get to the roof with the rifle, he disassembles the rifle and puts it in his backpack. Now, there's one major problem with that story. This particular rifle that he used is notoriously difficult to break down. In fact, it takes tools, it takes know-how, and it takes time. There's not really a rifle that's meant to easily be broken down.
And then just, to kind of, let me see if I can do this here. Let me see if I can do this. My apologies. Bring this open in another tab. Share this tab. And again, this is just a little fucking snippet of what you'll probably mostly see of anybody, you know, if you're trying to look this information up. You know, everybody's got it in holds. They're on a fucking nice, brightly lit stage. They got the tools. And again, you can see even when you remove, let me see if I can go back to this. My apologies. Let me see if I can go back to this. You can see right here, even when you remove the barrel, this whole stock does not get much smaller, right? So from, I don't know if you can see my, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but you know, from just where the barrel ends at the end of the fucking, at the end of the stock here to all the way down to the butt, right? Like that doesn't get much fucking smaller, regardless if you take out the barrel, you take out the you know, you know, where you place the cartridge and stuff. Like if you take that all out, it doesn't get much fucking smaller. So even if it's in his backpack, like, does that fit in your backpack? I don't know. Fucking hell do I know? But let's go back to this. Again, I just kind of, just to give you a visual representation of what we're talking about. And this guy even goes through the whole process here. It takes him from 15 minutes to over 20 minutes. Again, in a room, sitting down with the fucking thing on a desk, brightly lit, with the tools to break down to break down this weapon. So it's like, I mean, can we really? I don't know how skilled the kid was, but you know, it seems to be a remarkable feat to be able to break this weapon down fucking 17 times throughout the day while you're changing. I don't know, just a lot of it ain't making sense.
Broken down and put back together. So he goes there clearly limping with the rifle in his pants. Then in this picture in the stairway, all of a sudden, where's the rifle? Well, they say, oh, it's in his backpack. So, you know, that's the logical explanation. All right, well, let's keep going. So then,
okay. So let's
to
just say that's fucking plausible for a second. There's a clear view of his backpack, right? Not seemingly an oversized backpack by any stretch of the imagination. I don't see any bulges. Doesn't seem like the zippers like was fucking, you know, forced shut. I mean, where is the stock of the rifle in there? Where is the barrel in there? Like, plausible, yes, I guess. But wouldn't we see, I mean, I don't know. A lot of it is like, I feel like it would be a lot more obvious. You got, you know, in there with a fucking 30-06, even if it was disassembled. But, you know.
That's the logical explanation. All right, well, let's keep going. So then, according to them, he gets to the roof, puts the rifle back together, does the shooting. There's also, I'm going to throw another curveball at you. He shows up in a maroon shirt, they say. This is what the officials say.
Now, listen to this
shows up in a maroon shirt. Then he puts on this black shirt. Then he gets to the roof and puts back on the maroon shirt. Then he finishes shooting and puts the black shirt back on and leaves. Getting a little weird, but wait for it. Okay, wait for it. So
let's think about that. Why would you ever wear the first shirt to begin with? That would just give away the fact that you were wearing that shirt earlier in the day, and it makes absolutely no difference if you were to change after the shooting because they have you already have you on camera having worn that first shirt. Now, does that make any fucking sense? Does that make any fucking sense to anybody? It would make sense to me that he would shoot wearing one thing and then after that change his clothes, right? To something that nobody's seen him wearing to a whole different, right? That would make sense to me. That would be like, okay, you're just killed somebody, you're trying to get away. That makes sense. But why wear the original fucking thing that you're going to put on after originally to change? Like, what? Like, what are we doing? Like, how much time does this kid have? Does he have a personal fucking booth that he brings with him to break down the weapon and change his clothes? Like, what's happening?
Here he is after the shooting. This is when he escapes. And you're going to see that he basically runs on the roof. And you're going to take note of something very important in just a second. So here, let's play it. He's running on the roof, Where's the rifle? He's holding something, but it's not the size and shape of a rifle.
See, this is kind of why
so let me go back.
I might disagree with what's been said and what Kyle thinks here. I think I don't know. It's hard to tell. And again, it's not definitive from this, but I think it's hard to suggest that he's not holding the intact rifle, which might put into question whether or not it was disassembled and reassembled that last time, but not the times before. Right. So if we go through it, it's very plausible to me that he still does have it in his hands here. But again, without clear imaging, without definitive answers, we're left to speculate, and that's what fucking people are doing.
In just a second. So here, let's play it. He's running on the roof, Where's the rifle?
And again, is he already in the black shirt or is he in the gray shirt here?
Holding something, but it's not the size and shape of a rifle.
And that's a pretty big drop. That's a fucking pretty big drop. He's lucky he didn't break his shit. He is lucky he didn't break his shit. But it does look to me like when he drops, it may like almost looks to me like the barrel does come down after and hit the ground, as momentum would have it do. Just see if I can't zoom in on video, so I apologize, but let me see if you can catch it again here.
Running on the roof. Where's the rifle? He's holding
Now
something,
watch
but it's
as
not
he
the size and shape
lands.
of a rifle.
You can kind of.
Okay, so let me go back.
But
I'll play
again,
that one more time for
hard
you.
to fucking.
So he's running on the roof, and you're going to notice there is no rifle in sight. There's no rifle in sight. Ready? He's running on the roof. There's no rifle there. He's running normal. He's not limping. He's got something in his hand, but it's not the size and shape of a rifle. Okay. Now here's what they say. They say, "Oh well."
Hard to tell, right? So not definitive. I would say by any stretch of the imagination. From that, the grainy view that we get there. Plausible, I would definitely say. But again, does not explain the other, before getting onto the roof either, right? So it's not like that would totally dismiss any of the questions about the assembly, disassembly questions, right? So even if that did do it. Let's see here. Well, that's what I was thinking too, but apparently the limp is on his way to the school, right? So that's what I was thinking too when I saw that drop was the limp, but he's not limping on the way back. Like there's no noticeable limp when you see him cutting across the camera for the second time in the background. I haven't heard anything about law enforcement saying that he limped when he was walking into the police station or anything, which you think would be the case. A drop from that height, you're not going to get better in a day. You're not going to get better in it's going to be there for a little bit. But that's what I thought. But that was on the way to the shooting, right? So the only further explanation for that would be something down the pants, obviously causing him to not be able to stretch or bend his leg at that. But, just that's what I thought too. But just to make it clear, just to kind of, paint the timeline right, that video of him limping is prior to, which is why you have the question of him going up the stairs on making his way onto the roof of where the weapon went, right? Where did it go? Did he stop in between that Ring doorbell camera and him being picked up on the stairwell to disassemble the weapon, put it in his bag so that he can get up on the roof and have to reassemble it on the roof? I don't know. It's just questions that, again, aren't being answered by this lackadaisical FBI investigation. Again, trying to take credit for, again, the fucking guy having to be walked into the police station by his father and a rabbi or a bishop or whatever the fuck. And these guys are like breaking their arms trying to pat themselves on the back for the fucking outstanding work they did for releasing the photo. Which fucking, I don't know, Doofy would have fucking known to do. In Scary Movie. What's his name? Is it Doofy? Sergeant Doofy? All right, let's see what else that we can get in here. Let's see what else he gets into.
He did the shooting. He disassembled the rifle. And that's why he's not running with a rifle there. Okay. All right. Well, then here's the question. The feds also say, we found the rifle in the woods and it was put together. It was fully put together. So according to them, he shows up with the rifle assembled, walks to the school with the rifle assembled, hence the limp with it, with his jeans there. Then he gets there, disassembles it to get to the roof, assembles it again on top of the roof, shoots, disassembles it immediately after he shot. In other words, they say he didn't run right away. He shot and then he disassembled it, which takes time. Then he runs with the disassembled rifle, jumps off the roof, and then he assembles the rifle back together and leaves it in the woods for the feds to find. I'm sorry, man. That makes no fucking sense. 0 sense. Something is really fishy with this. Now, I need you to understand something, guys. I'm not even doing the whole read between the line things. I'm just telling you, this is what they say happened. Now, I briefly mentioned what he was wearing before. Again, I want you to listen to, this is the governor of Utah, and here's what he says, because people in the media were asking, hey, what was he wearing? Why are the accounts differing? Here's what the governor says. Ready?
So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point so that when he was...
Does that in any way make sense to you guys? Does that in any way make sense? He wore the clothes... He changed back into the clothes he was wearing before the shooting so that anybody that saw him walking up there before the shooting on the way to the school, driving there, getting gas, getting a fucking candy bar, whatever the fuck he did before that, could be like, hey, that's a kid. He was wearing that before. He was wearing. So how could you possibly be as stupid as that and still somehow, if it weren't for your father and your pastor or your bishop or your rabbi or whatever the fuck, you would have been on the run. You still would have got away. Does that make any sense? And again, I'm not that guy, not that fucking guy. I'm really not. But these are questions that immediately were like, even when I first saw it, like I was just telling you, I'm like, was that the exit or entry? Because remember how a lot of people were remarking how his shirt came up? And again, I'm not trying to make you go back and watch it or even think about it, but a lot of people at the time were talking about how the shirt came up, the white, his shirt. And I was like, well, yeah, that's kind of weird. But people were speculating that it may have bounced off or glanced off of the vest that he had on. But I don't know. Like, to me, it's like usually the bigger the trauma is the exit. And it was clear to me which side was the bigger trauma. And that just, it goes against a lot of what I know of, bullet trauma and strikes, and we just haven't gotten any answers. And there's been a lot of speculation, but no definitive anything. And again, that's why I'm not going to share any of the stupid conspiracy theories, that people have floating around on the idea. I'm just going to say that's what I thought originally, and I don't think yet it's been proven that just this kid was involved, or there was no bigger fucking conspiracy or plot here, considering the kid's not cooperating, and we really fucking don't know, right? I'm just saying.
When he was apprehended, when he was arrested.
And I think there was one more part. I don't know if it was in. Let me see. I apologize. There's been so much. Oh yeah, here's the information on that guy, right? So this is the guy, George Hodgson Zinn. And again, if this has been since debunked or there's any information to this, please let me know in the chat. I always want to give you guys the most accurate and up-to-date information I possibly can, but this is what's being reported on. The guy that we originally saw handcuffed. Remember how in the beginning we were originally watching the report on, I think it was the breaking news things that we did here when it was first happening, and we were like, wait a minute. They just said that the first guy they arrested wasn't the shooter, but they did charge him with something. And I was confused by that, and I was like, well, if that wasn't the guy, why is he charged with obstruction? I think it was obstruction he was charged with. And it's like, well, why would you charge him with anything if that wasn't the guy? It just doesn't make any sense. And then you later hear that he was screaming, it was him, and shoot him and shoot him and shoot him. Turns out that this guy has been linked to high-profile media events such as 9/11. Zinn appeared in a resurfaced video from September 11, 2001, where he stated immediately he knew it was Al-Qaeda. Excuse me again, sorry. Salt Lake City in 2013, shortly after the marathon bombing in Boston, Zinn was arrested and charged with making terroristic threats via email. And then in the 2025 killing of Charlie Kirk, Zinn was detained at the scene in Utah Valley, September 10, 2025, amid the chaos, held as a person of interest and but released after cleared involvement with shooting just him. He was charged with obstruction of justice. And it's like, well, how the fuck? What the fuck are the chances he's at all three of these motherfuckers? And again, I'm not that guy. I am not. Really not. But if it turns out that this is the dude that was at all, like, what's happening here? Why that's a good delay tactic. Somebody that has nothing, absolutely no involvement, really, nothing to say that they have any involvement on them to kind of be like, hey, yeah, look that way or look this way while the person that did it is fucking running away in the other direction. There was a report of another weapon that was apparently a BB gun that would led authorities to kind of waste some time as well. So it's like, I don't know, I really don't. I wish I did. But again, this is being used, this whole thing, and again the supposed trans roommate. There was altering reports when that first came out. Apparently, one agency reported that he was living at home with his parents, his firmly Republican parents. And then other reports were that he was living off camp, living with a roommate. Turns out that the roommate was his college friggin' roommate and is cooperating, had no involvement per law enforcement. But that doesn't stop the right from using that to their advantage to try to demonize and stoke fear and perpetrate violence against the trans community or against lefties in general. And it was really sad the other day to see how, torn up Tara was on Hal's show from the attacks that she's been receiving, and that the website going up with everybody's with stuff on it, and which I believe has since been hacked and taken down, luckily. But it's sad to see that this is having real toll on people. And I'd just like to reiterate for everybody, just remember that social media is not life, and life is not social media. There is so much happening good out there beyond the screens that lay in front of your face right now. There is so much out there than just the fucking names that you scroll through on a daily basis, human interactions that you will cherish for the rest of your life, moments that will make you think, moments that will make you cry, moments that will make you happy. None of that stemming from anything that has to do with social media, online, or anything. And I would just, advise or, give the advice to anybody that's feeling in some way, exhausted or run down or afraid or threatened or intimidated. What a lot of what can help that, and a lot of what can, kind of quell that is just kind of taking a step back, right? Just kind of pulling back. Don't give the people that are trying to feed off of it anything to feed off of. Don't give them the time of day. Don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you upset or hurt or anything. Pull back, take some time for yourself, read a couple books, watch a couple movies, talk to your sons and daughters, whatever it may be. Go out and have some lunch with the ladies. Take your mind off of things. Let everything, the dust settle. And then I promise you, when you come back, not only will you feel better, but the situation that you left hopefully will not be the same as when you left it. So, just a little word of advice from somebody that, did actively have threats made and had to take screenshots myself out there, and to make sure that I was protected. And what I did is just, like I told you guys, I just took a step back, let it kind of fucking let the dust settle and not give him anything to feed off of. And, and just, keep fighting the good fight. But anybody that doesn't feel like they're, able to do that and continue that up until midterms and throughout, the general, then, advise you to take as much time whenever you need it. Right. So don't be afraid if you have a show, if you need to miss a show, if you need somebody to fill in, if it helps you in your mental health, if it helps you go a little bit further and remain and keep your sanity. Then make sure that's what we're doing, and make sure that we're taking care of other creators and letting them know, when we kind of notice, when things may be off, right? When they may need somebody to talk to, or they may need, a break for a couple minutes, which is never a bad thing. The stuff that we talk about is horrendous on a daily basis. It's hard to watch babies starving. It's hard to watch dead people being carried out of buildings in Ukraine, and what's going on in Africa or in India, and you name it. I mean, it's difficult what's going on in our own cities in the United States. It's not easy. So, don't be ashamed, and don't be afraid to say that, I need to take a couple days or a couple hours even to tune out. So, all right, let's see. What was I trying to get to here? I'm running out of time rapidly here. So, is there anything else that I can get into? Is it worth getting into these things now? Let's see what this one is. I never leave myself enough time. Let's see here. This is Kash on Fox. Let's see how he's trying to save his job. See what he's got to say here. Was this morning? This was 1 day ago. So yesterday.
Has collectively told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in these last couple of years. And I'd still love to know who's saying this shit. I would love to know who's saying this shit, because per the grandmother and per everybody else in the goddamn family, they don't even know a motherfucking lefty, right? They don't even know people that describe themselves as Democrats. And apparently, according to law enforcement, the supposed or alleged roommate or partner or whatever has absolutely no involvement, had no knowledge of, and took part in none of what happened. So what the fuck are we talking about here, Kash? Where is this evidence that he was, radicalized by this left-wing ideology? Because it seems very dangerous for you to come out as the head of the FBI and say this shit without backing up the facts with evidence to corroborate it. Exchange, he the suspect with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for.
FBI director. And what the fuck does that have to do with left-wing ideology? What does that mean? Do you think there weren't groypers and people on the right of Charlie Kirk that didn't think Charlie Kirk was right enough? Are you going to just actively, totally fucking ignore that entire fucking ecosystem that absolutely still exists to this moment in time? Because nothing that you just said gave us any fucking evidence or brought us any closer
to learning as to what you're talking about as what is this fucking left-wing ideology that you continue to blame the left for.
Kash Patel on our air about 2 hours ago now. More about Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, Utah native.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you, brother. Hey, Brian told you so. I was thinking of going to Valhalla, but if Kash and Kirk are there going there, I make another plan. Yeah. So what was it like? The Protestant, I don't know. There was the whole fucking mumbled thing of this. It was like the Protestant telling the fucking Catholic that he's going to the fucking pagan afterlife while the Hindu person behind him sat with it was like they had the whole rainbow in there. They had the whole rainbow in there. They couldn't figure out where they wanted to go, so they just said it all, I guess. But thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for that.
Described as quiet and
right, so this is Fox going over what they knew. Or what they know so far, or claim to know, I should say.
Smart, apparently scored a 34.
So he's smart, he's quiet.
36.
No criminal history.
ACT, also had a scholarship at one point, was living with a male to female transgender partner.
See, again, I don't know where the fuck that has been fucking confirmed. I don't know where that's been confirmed. Because it sounded like to me like the guy from Utah confirmed that as well, or allegedly confirmed that as well. But everything that I've seen is saying that they're using like a single picture from fucking 8 years ago to suggest that this is the case. So again, you see how, again, in the lack of credible evidence, credible information coming out, it leaves the door open for fucking this type of shit. And again, I don't know, that may or may not be the case. I have just absolutely not seen that 100% confirmed by anybody. That didn't say fucking unnamed source or, due to anonymity or whatever the fuck. It's crazy. And again, what does that have to do with anything? I live with a couch. If I go fucking shoot somebody, is it fucking couch on couch violence? Is it couch violence? And if the couch is cooperating, does the couch get any credit? And JD, don't get any ideas. I know what you're thinking, JD, you sick fuck. You know it's not a dolphin. But I mean, it's how I got a lamp. There's a bunch of lights here in my house. I live with a light, a lamp, and a dog. Is it dog violence if I go hurt somebody? Is it because of my dog that had no involvement, knowledge, or fucking involvement in it whatsoever? Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? What does that have to do with anything? Or does it just make your case? Is it just helpful and beneficial to your fucking political case to use the words transgender in any fucking way possible, even after the Wall Street Journal and other organizations had to retract their bullshit about trans fucking inscriptions on the fucking bullets? Yeah, fuck you, Steven Crowder. Stick them right up your ass. Sorry. My apologies.
Southwestern Utah, no criminal history according to state records. Family and friends say it became more political and more angry in recent years.
Political how? Political how? What does that mean? It's because on one hand, you're telling me you are so fucking sure that he was radicalized by left-wing political ideology. But here you're just saying he became more political in recent years. Seems to be a little bit more general and a little less specific. So which one is it? Because I also saw Ben Shapiro, now that I think about it, coming on to, what was it? Fucking, what was he on with Bill Maher? As much as I hate that fucking prick too. Talking about, hey, yeah, we know he's a lefty. And even Bill Maher pushes back like, it's been 2 days. Shut the fuck up. We don't know shit, dude. We don't know fucking shit about that and his motives and other, because he's not cooperating. How could you possibly know? And then he brings up the whole Groyper movement and asks, hey, Ben, do you know for a fact that he's not a Groyper? And Ben says, no, I don't. Well, then Bill says, well, what the fuck? You were just 100% sure that he was a lefty. You were just so sure that he was a liberal, progressive, fucking pink-haired liberal. Like, what the fuck? Which one is it? Because you can't have it both ways.
More on that as we dissect the story. Reportedly talked in disparaging terms about Charlie Kirk, and at least the days, week, or weeks before he showed up on campus there in Utah.
And they're still going with this bullshit. They're still going with this bullshit case. And hey, fascist catch. They're still going with that fucking bullshit, even though we know where it came from. We know why it's being used. It's not being used as it's written, right? This isn't hey, fascist catch because it's an anti-fascist. No. It's being used in totally different ways, related to video games, related to online fucking, gamer fucking squads or whatever the fuck. I don't even know what you call them, channels. Right? My boominess is showing, but what the fuck do you want me to do? But this is complete and total bullshit, whitewashing, obfuscation, fucking nonsense is what this is. This is Fox News doing their best in North Korea. Like, this is why in North Korea when a leader dies, right? Like you see the wailing from everybody, like the overwhelming wailing and cry, because if you're not wailing enough, there's people watching, and they'll pick you right out of the crowd the same way that the fucking the right is doing, right? If they don't like your reaction to this, if they don't like the fucking what you said about it, if you're not crying hard enough for Charlie Kirk, then you're on a list somewhere to lose your job, your livelihood, possibly have fucking people knock on your door, calling your cell phone, threatening you and your loved ones and your family. Hey, fascist catch. Now, why don't you tell us the fucking meaning behind that? Because the biggest news channel in the fucking country should have the people behind the scenes to be like, okay, let me research that. Let me go through this and tell you what that actually means. And let me inform you that no, even though it was, the song and fucking all of it was originally used in World War II as an anti-fascist fucking song, it's since been hijacked and used for other purposes related to other video games and online gamer fucking chat platforms and shit. And people that are consistently and constantly fucking online and just think that's the real world after a while. But this is fucking nonsense.
No party affiliation. The bullet case inscription, you heard this from last week. One of them said, "Hey, fascist, catch." What's this?
Now, is there a point? Is there a reason why you're not telling us like all of what the bullet said and the reason behind it, and you're just kind of picking that "Hey, fascist, catch" one? Is there a reason, Fox News, as to why you're doing that? Because I can assume and kind of guess there might be on that front. Let me see if there was any. I kind of want to get into a couple. I know we only got about 2 or 3 minutes left, but let's see if we can get into a little bit of this bullshit.
The FBI team did an amazing job. The state and local partners could not.
What did they do? What the fuck did they do? They released the picture. That's what you do. That's what you do. That's what you do. If I Chad had to get together and be like, hey, what should we do at this moment in time? I'd say, well, fucking release the picture. See if anybody knows him. And then they had to literally waltz him into the police station. What the fuck did you guys do?
More cooperative. And, I know when tragedies like this happen, this isn't time for back patting. Who cares? We lost Charlie. But I do want you to know.
No time for back patting, which is exactly why he and Kash Patel are on this fucking media tour to do podcast after podcast after interview after interview in order to rehabilitate not only their image, but also the image of the law enforcement agency they represent. Because absolutely everybody seemingly has lost faith. Let's see if I can pull up let's see if there's just a headline or an article. Kind of show you that, I'm not making this shit up. There you go. There's a Fox News. No better one if Fox is reporting on it, right? Knives are out for embattled FBI director. Where are you? Where'd it go? There it is. Despite Trump support, Patel sought meeting with Trump following blunders as new co-deputy begins work next week. And that was September 14th. All right. Oh, yeah, here it is. Here's the thing I was talking about. Bill Maher, Ben Shapiro, spar over politics of Charlie Kirk expected assassin. We don't have time to get into it, but that is the clip if anybody's looking to check that out, where Bill Maher actually gets a good fucking shot in on Ben Shapiro, gets a good point in there as it relates to this story, too. But let's see if there's any more bullshit from this asshole.
As taxpayers and citizens, you pay for the FBI, you pay for your Utah DPS and other entities out there, that there's been none of this kind of internal fighting that may have happened in the past. Our ERT, our evidence response.
No, yeah, it sounds like things are going great. When fucking Kash Patel has to request the audience of the President of the United States to ensure him that all of the blunders that have recently happened don't in any way reflect how the agency is being run. And we've recently heard about his his spat with fucking Pam Bondi. One of them got to go. He wasn't showing up to work. So yeah, it sounds like things are going great inside there. Didn't they fire the local FBI field agents that was supposed to be in charge in this area as well, which is another reason why the response was so convoluted and fucked up? Or am I getting that wrong?
Team, Megan, that was a massive crime scene. Massive crime scene.
Massive crime scene. That let me see. Here, ready? TP members take camera. Oh, for Christ's sakes. One second. I want to see if I can get the video real quick of them taking the cameras afterwards, because he's talking about what a huge crime scene this was and how they did such a great job locking it down. That, these people are just allowed to waltz right in there, walk through the crime scene, take the cameras. See, is this showing? Sorry. No. All right, no, we don't have to show it, but just know that there is video out there that you can find of them absolutely waltzing all over this crime scene just after this fucking incident happened.
Hundreds of people, articles of there were. No, I don't. Listen, I can't get emotional about this. You have to just process information. But I was there.
Right? Isn't this again perfect example of why somebody with such a close ties and association to the victim maybe shouldn't be leading this investigation or in any way involved in it? Because of the emotional attachment and how it might, again, take away from his ability that he never had to begin with in order to do his job. It just, I don't know. I think that would just make sense off the bat. And let me just see if I can pull this one up, because it was just this 1 minute. We might have to watch this one on one of tomorrow's shows as well. But let me just see here. I think it was this one. Yeah, and then I wanted to go to 1935 on this one, if I may, and I'll let you guys go after I take a look at the, congratulate and thank everybody for their kind super chats. Let me see here. This is just from a Breaking Points video real quick. And this is just a brief recap. Recap. Yeah, it's a brief recap. Yeah, we're doing a brief recap. Brief recap of the, the what's going on so far. And this is, again, seemingly from a right winger with the, the title or the name in his title, 1776, right? Says they haven't recovered the bullet. They haven't presented any video or photographic evidence of the shooter, alleged shooter with the gun. The alleged shooter did not confess to law enforcement. They haven't presented any pictures or videos of the alleged shooter changing his clothes on the roof, which is contradicted by the photos that have been released. They don't have any physical evidence of the note where the alleged shooter allegedly claimed he would have a chance to take out CK. TP USA staff contaminated the crime scene.
This is the short list.
Excuse me. Contaminated the crime scene, removed the camera sitting directly behind Charlie immediately after the shooting. Where's the footage? Discord disputes the FBI's claim that the alleged shooter discussed any of the plans to attack Charlie Kirk. If true, that would have the data to back this up. We might end up seeing all of this eventually, and I hope we all do. But so far, the evidence that's actually been presented is hardly convincing. And I just wanted to show you that it's not like hardcore lefties is the only people fucking noticing the discrepancies and calling this shit out. Like Roth Bard 1776, aka Murray on X, also is noticing, and he's not the only one there. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, I am out of time. A lot that I didn't get to, which will give us a lot to cover on our upcoming shows. Let me see if I can get into everybody that was kind enough to either send a Venmo or contribute through the channels here on YouTube, whether it be a super chat, super sticker, signing up for a membership, whatever it may be. Let me see here. So let me see. I'm going to thank Barbara. I'm going to thank Nancy. I'm going to thank Jennifer. I'm going to thank Thomas, and I'm going to thank Laurie. Thank you so much, guys, for your enormous and kind and generous contributions to the channel, keeping us going the way, the only way that the only way that we can, to tell you the truth. But again, like I reiterated earlier in the show, and we still have that Greg Kelly video that we could do as well. But as Donald Trump is spending $200 million on the ballroom, as we're spending $1 million a day for the National Guard to do absolutely nothing but intimidate immigrants and people of color in and around our cities. More Americans now are unemployed than there are job openings for the first time since the pandemic. Let that sit in. Let that sink in. Groceries and goods continue to explode in price as tariffs take hold. Other economic factors as well. Health insurance costs rising at the highest level since 2010. Cost of housing continues to explode. There are factor after factor after factor after factor that are negative, and we need to continue to harp on these things, not to mention what we have been continuously going after here is Donald Trump's involvement in the release of the Epstein files to get the information and the justice that is deserved in that case. Once again, RIP to Robert Redford. And I appreciate you guys watching. Let me get into thanking you guys here on the old YouTubes. Thank you, Slacks, first and foremost, for being here. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, Maria. I appreciate you. I've cut back. No worries. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Tomas. Let's see here. Thank you, Carol, for the 5 gifted. Very generous of you. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Misunderstood. America is not buying Trump's ridiculous line of bullshit anymore. No, there are... they're seemingly more and more willing to call it out, which is a good sign, but it's still progressing at a rate slower than I would like it to see. So we need to do our best to continue to make sure we can ramp that up at any point possible. Thank you so much, Wayno. Huge. Let's go. 10 gifted. I appreciate that. Make sure the 20 gifted memberships that have gone out so far between these fabulous people, make sure you're thanking everybody that's gifting the memberships to you, because it's a huge and generous and kind contribution that comes out of pocket. So thank you, Wayno. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Sally, for being here for 16 months. Thanks for covering important international news. Well, I appreciate it. These are the things that I find important. And I think that we should be reporting on no matter what side we're on here. And I thank you, Talia. I appreciate you for being here for 3 months. Very nice of you to be here, and I appreciate your loyalty and your ability to continue coming back and soaking in the news like you do. So thank you very much. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you, dude. I was thinking of going to Valhalla, but if Kash and Kirk are going there, I'm making other plans. Well, let me know where you're going, and I'll meet you there. All right, brother? I appreciate that. Thank you, Just Saying. You are amazing. Thank you so much for your kind and generous $2 contribution. And thank you, JD, to round it out. Oh, no, not to round it out, but thank you, JD, for the $5 for the profanity jar. I got to get an actual jar to represent JD's contributions to this channel here at someday. And then to round it out, thank you so much, Carol, for being here for 6 months. I appreciate you. Beautiful picture you got there. And thank you so much, guys, for coming in day in, day out. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. We got 2 shows tomorrow, doubleheader on Wednesday. We get the show at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then we got the 8:30 p.m. Eastern later on in the evening. So make sure you're hitting that notification so you're around tomorrow. Thank you, everybody that kindly contributes, whether it be via Venmo, PayPal. Again, what different ways you can sign up underneath me here for a channel membership, or if you go to patreon.com/BostonBrian. The only way I survive, the only way I eat is with the help of you guys helping to contribute to independent media that you find important to combat what the propaganda, the bullshit and the lies of the mainstream media, the Republican Party and Donald Trump are saying. So I appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow for the doubleheader. Make sure you get the notification bell on. Make sure you're supporting other creators in this space. If it's not me that gives you the most value, whoever does, make sure you're supporting them. Get out of your seats, get into your streets, find the nearest protest, find your nearest rally. Stay proud, stay loud, stay aggressive, but make sure you're keeping your head on a swivel out there, guys. Stay safe. And if you need to take a break from things, take a break from things. We want everybody to be at the best, the peak physical condition going into midterm. So make sure you're taking care of your mental health, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves again, and I will see you tomorrow. I appreciate you. Peace. Slava Ukraine, Heroyam Slava. Free Palestine. Fuck ICE.
Yes, of course, hence the name. Movement, it moves a certain distance, then it stops, you see. A revolution gets its name by always coming back around in your face. You tried to kill me, you son of a bitch. So welcome to the revolution.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
Fucking Nazis.
It feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful, give yourself a round of applause. You're so lovely. Everyone's so lovely.
Refer to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
Always calling me Little Marco. And I'll admit, he's taller than me. He's like 6'2", which is why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2".
Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. The battle of...
You know what uranium is, right? It's a thing called nuclear weapons and other things like... You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that guy. No words, I have the best words. But there's no better word than stupid. Obama.
Call them dumps, big massive dumps.
Yesterday's a hard word for me.
Cacophony, a crescendo, a finale, a coup de grace.
Tell the director to call the White House. Do your fucking job!
How do you lie to the FBI and now you're running for president? Seriously, how do you lie to the FBI and now you're running for president?
Go fuck yourself. They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated? They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
You appreciate those camels? I haven't seen camels like that for a long time.
Brian, yeah, you're drunk. You're drunk. This guy's been drunk all day. He's the town drunk.
When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular.
No, get those lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Yesterday's a hard word for me. Vagina. Vagina. I am the chosen one.
Go fuck yourself.
The big, fat, sloppy United